detected. Now let's go into how we bypass blacklists in SQL injection. And we're going to discuss why blacklisting is not the best way to filter against SQL injection. Back in the day, a lot of websites would just use blacklisting to prevent SQL injection. But recently it's gotten better, but still some people use it and it's never secure. So the most basic type of blacklisting is just to block specific words from the inputs, such as union. So it makes SQL injection harder. So the example words are single quotes, double quotes, concatenation, union. .NET Framework and other frameworks back in the day had the feature to block these from the input. It would kind of bug the user because a lot of users would just like to use these. So for example, in a blog post, but still some applications still use these blacklisting. It's not a patch of the vulnerability, it's a black box thing. It doesn't know what the vulnerability is and where in the application it is. It just tries to not let you use a certain set of words or a certain set of behaviors. They can generally be bypassed by the attacker because it's usually there's another way to do the same thing. And with SQL being a huge language with a lot of support, we can almost always find another way to do the same thing. Let's see a demo. Okay, so if you open up the lesson 25 of SQLi Labs, it's a system that has blocked or and keywords, which is pretty common. A lot of systems do this on top of union. Let's try this. A single quote gives us an error, so we know that it's vulnerable to SQL injection. Order by 5 also says that there's a filter here now. The or from the order by is removed. Let's find another method. So this time we're going to comment this out, see what happens. Order by 5, comment out. You see that it has still cut out the or, so it's not context sensitive. It just searches the string for or and gets rid of the or. But keep in mind that filters that remove characters are also vulnerable to another thing. So let's just test and first. You see that that's cut out as well. So the interesting thing is if a filter just deletes something from your text, you should be able to mix things that after getting deleted create keywords. We're not going to go over that here. We're going to use a more basic method, but it will exist in the assignments. So now that we can't use and or, is there any way to inject this? Yeah, of course there is. There are many other ways to even use and or. We don't even need to do things that don't require and or. We can just use the characters that are equivalent of or and. So we see that this one is not filtered. It exists in the output, and we got the login and password now. Or for and, we can use and. As you can see, SQL supports many things. Oh, this one is filtered though. Interesting. Let's find another method to get past this because SQL supports a lot of things and we can always find an alternative by Googling or by going online. Now this time we're going to encode the ampersands using the URL encode because they have special meanings in the URL itself. So now we can use them here. So you see that we easily bypass the and or blacklist. And even the more complicated ones like unions can be bypassed by subqueries, or single quotes can be bypassed by an array of characters that represent the same thing, so using functions. So it doesn't seem like blacklisting really helps.